Television finales are often bittersweet, marking the end of an era for beloved characters while offering fans one last poignant goodbye. When it came to young Sheldon, the charming, witty prequel to The Big Bang Theory, fans expected a heartfelt farewell. After 7 seasons of watching the young prodigy navigate East Texas, viewers were prepared to watch Sheldon Cooper's high school graduation, the defining moment that would launch him toward Caltech and, eventually, the man we meet in The Big Bang Theory. But when the anticipated graduation episode failed to air as originally planned, fans were left puzzled and disappointed. What could have possibly derailed such a pivotal moment? As it turns out, the story behind the disruption is as quirky, complex, and endearing as Sheldon Cooper himself. The chaos theory of TV production. Television productions are meticulously planned. Scripts are written months in advance, schedules are coordinated down to the minute, and actors are expected to deliver performances that align with fan expectations and network demands. For young Sheldon, the graduation episode was meant to be the emotional crescendo of the series, the moment young Sheldon finally leaves childhood behind. But sometimes, even the most carefully planned projects fall victim to the chaos theory, the idea that small changes can have huge, unforeseen consequences. According to sources close to the production, it all started with a malfunctioning sprinkler system. The graduation scene was to be shot in a rented auditorium decorated to resemble Medford High School. The night before filming, a freak electrical short triggered the sprinklers. By morning, the set was waterlogged, the diplomas were floating, and the caps and gowns looked like they'd been fished from a storm drain. Picture Sheldon delivering his valedictorian speech while water drips from the ceiling, said one crew member. Funny in theory, but not the tone we were going for. The flood delayed production by several days, a problem for a show with a tight deadline and a network anxious to air the finale during sweeps week. The child actor dilemma. But that wasn't the only complication. Ian Armitage, the talented actor who played young Sheldon, had grown up significantly since the series first aired. By the final season, the line between young and teenage Sheldon had become increasingly blurred. Viewers noted his deepening voice and height growth, which were natural but challenging when trying to depict a boy genius who was supposed to be just 14. The graduation episode required Armitage to convincingly portray a still boyish Sheldon delivering an emotional farewell to high school. But as one insider joked, he looked like he could already be teaching at Caltech, not just enrolling. Producers considered using visual effects to digitally de-age Armitage. However, after testing, the result was unsettling. Think early CGI Luke Skywalker, the director said. It looked like Sheldon was trapped in some uncanny valley version of his childhood. This led to heated debates in the writers' room. Should they rewrite the finale to account for Armitage's maturity? Should they jump ahead in time and skip the graduation entirely? Or should they gamble on a rewritten, less traditional episode? Creative differences behind the scenes. The showrunners, Chuck Lorre and Steve Malaro, reportedly had different visions for the finale. Lorre wanted a dramatic, emotional send-off that echoed The Big Bang Theory's finale, while Malaro favored something more understated and quirky, true to young Sheldon's tone. The original script featured a touching graduation ceremony, with flash-forwards to Sheldon at Caltech, voiceovers by Jim Parsons, and even a cameo by an older version of Missy reflecting on her brother's brilliance. But a last-minute rewrite introduced a different plot. Sheldon would skip his graduation entirely. Instead of a ceremony, he would leave town in a quiet goodbye, walking out of Medford High unnoticed, symbolizing his lifelong feeling of being out of sync with the world around him. It was poetic, said one writer, but CBS hated it. Network executives were banking on a big graduation scene for ratings and promotional value. The new script felt too subtle, too melancholy. They pushed for a return to the original plan, but time was running out. The writers' strike that almost was, and just as producers were scrambling to salvage the script and reshoot the water-damaged scenes, Hollywood faced another threat, a looming writers' strike. Though the strike hadn't officially begun, many crew members were already taking precautionary measures. Writers were hesitant to make last-minute changes. Editors were working on tight schedules. Morale was low, and the tension on set was palpable. Everyone was walking on eggshells, one production assistant recalled. We knew that if the strike hit, that was it. No rewrites, no reshoots, no finale. Faced with mounting pressure, the network made a bold decision. They would delay the graduation episode, split it into 2 parts, and air a modified version as a flashback in a later special, perhaps even post-strike. Fan reactions and the legacy of the show. When CBS announced that the originally planned graduation episode would not air as intended, fan reactions were mixed. Some were understanding, even supportive. "Sheldon's not the kind of kid who needs a graduation ceremony to define him," tweeted one viewer. "He's beyond that." Others were less forgiving. Hashtags like #whereas Sheldon's grad and #Sheldon deserved more trended for days. Yet in an unexpected twist, the finale that did air, a stripped-down, quieter episode focusing on Sheldon's relationships with his family, was hailed by critics. Without the pomp and circumstance of a graduation scene, the episode leaned into the emotional undercurrents of the series. Sheldon's deep, if often awkwardly expressed, love for his family, his fear of growing up, and his yearning to belong. In hindsight, perhaps young Sheldon's finale didn't need a graduation. After all, the series was never just about a boy genius. It was about a boy growing up in a world that didn't quite understand him, and about how he learned to understand it in return. A conclusion without a cap and gown, so why couldn't the graduation episode air as intended? Blame it on a faulty sprinkler, a maturing actor, a digital de-aging disaster, creative conflicts, a ticking clock, and an industry on the brink of a strike. But also, maybe, just maybe, the universe was telling the writers something Sheldon himself might understand. That sometimes, the most logical ending, is not the one you plan. Let me know if you'd like this formatted for a blog post, speech, or voiceover script.